There exists no greater weakness in a man than the loss of command over his own temper. For anger is not the flame of power, but the smoke of defeat. The moment you burn, you expose your wounds to the world. Those who know how to provoke you already own you. They need not strength, nor intellect, nor courage, merely the art of irritation. And so, if one desires true sovereignty of mind, he must learn to become untouchable to the insults, betrayals, and foolishness of others. He must not suppress his emotions, but rather master them as a king masters his court, with distance, calculation, and quiet superiority. You cannot rule others if you cannot rule yourself. The mind that reacts quickly is the mind already captured. The world will forever send its irritations, mockery, lies, envy, disobedience, for these are the tools of the weak to humble the strong. Yet the wise man observes them not as attacks but as performances. He stands as the silent audience while the actors waste their fury on stage. He sees that every insult carries within it a confession of inferiority. Every attempt to disturb him is an admission of powerlessness. When you are truly dangerous, your calm is your greatest weapon. To never be angry, one must first understand what anger truly is. The cry of one who wishes reality to be different than it is. The man who demands the world obey him will forever rage. The man who understands the world as it is will never be surprised. Anger, therefore, belongs to those who cling to illusions. That people should be fair, that loyalty should be constant, that truth should be obvious. But human nature was never designed for such purity. It bends, deceives, and acts upon self-interest. When you see that, anger becomes foolish, for you rage not at the person, but at the nature of existence itself. The secret is to expect betrayal, deceit, and disrespect as you expect the sun to rise. When you no longer expect virtue from others, you cannot be disturbed by their vice. You will walk among the corrupt and the cunning with the same serenity as a lion walks through the jungle, aware but unbothered. This is not cynicism, it is awareness. The wise do not hate men for their flaws, they use their flaws to their advantage. The fool takes things personally, the strategist takes notes. Therefore, if you desire to be untouchable, begin by detaching from expectation. Do not demand fairness, use unfairness to sharpen your intellect. Do not crave loyalty, test it in silence. Do not seek admiration, let others crave yours. For the man who is unmoved, unprovoked, and unshaken becomes the center of gravity in every room, calm while others tremble, silent while others shout. Such a man does not conquer through aggression, but through presence. His peace becomes his dominion. To remain unbothered by others is not merely a lesson in calmness, it is an exercise in strategy. Anger clouds judgment, and judgment is the architect of power. The man who reacts cannot think, and the man who cannot think is no longer dangerous. When you lose your composure, you hand over your weapons to your enemies. You show them where to strike next. Therefore, the first rule of mastery is this: never reveal that you can be disturbed. Even when the world conspires to provoke you, remain unreadable, not cold, but deliberate, as if every silence were a move in a hidden game. You must understand that people test your reactions not out of malice, but instinct. It is how the human animal measures dominance. When they mock you, they study your face for cracks. When they ignore you, they measure your need for validation. When they disrespect you, they wait to see if you will bark or bleed. Each reaction teaches them your weaknesses. Therefore, the wise man conceals all emotion behind an expression of mild amusement, the look of one who already knew what was coming. Nothing is more disarming to an enemy than a man who cannot be provoked. For when he cannot move your mind, he begins to question his own. To never get angry, you must learn to play a higher game, one where emotion becomes a mask, not a mirror. When others attack you, they seek your chaos, give them your calm. When they insult you, they seek your outrage, give them your indifference. When they betray you, they seek your despair, give them your silence. In this way you turn every assault into a lesson. They expect thunder, you offer stillness. They expect fire, you offer stone. Soon they grow confused, and confusion is the first crack in their confidence. The unshaken man breaks his enemies without ever lifting a hand. Do not mistake this control for weakness. To restrain one's fury requires more force than to release it. The man who lashes out shows that his spirit has been conquered. The man who restrains it shows that his spirit has become a fortress. When you feel rage rising within, do not fight it. Observe it. Step back from yourself and watch your emotions as a general watches soldiers. Ask, what do they reveal about my attachments? Anger always exposes something you still depend upon. Approval, control, respect. Therefore, every time you are angered, you have found the next chain to break. The secret is detachment, not from life, but from the illusions that enslave your mind. Do not require that others treat you well. Require only that you remain superior to their treatment. Do not beg the world to be peaceful. Become the peace that others cannot disturb. The man who learns this becomes dangerous beyond measure. For when no one can disturb your emotions, no one can control your destiny. Your calm becomes armor, your silence becomes command, and your restraint becomes the quietest form of power. The art of never being angered is born from an understanding that all human behavior is driven by self-interest. Once you see this, every insult, betrayal, and irritation becomes predictable, and therefore powerless. The fool expects people to act with fairness, the wise expect them to act with advantage. When someone lies to you, he seeks gain. When someone disrespects you, he seeks validation. When someone betrays you, he seeks survival. None of this is personal, it is merely human. To take offense is to reveal that you still believe the world revolves around your feelings. The one who rises above this delusion becomes untouchable, for he no longer fights shadows, he manipulates them. You must learn to watch people as one studies a chessboard. Every insult is a move, every emotion a signal. The world belongs not to the angry, but to the observant. While others react, you calculate. You begin to notice how easily men betray their own intentions. The jealous reveal their envy in every compliment. The weak disguise their fear with aggression. The manipulative dress their selfishness as kindness. But the moment you react emotionally, their masks succeed. The moment you remain calm, their masks fall apart. The man who controls his reactions controls the entire game. To never be bothered, you must sever your need for external validation. As long as your value depends on the opinions of others, your emotions will remain in their hands. Praise will intoxicate you, criticism will wound you. This is how ordinary men are ruled, not by force, but by attention. The wise man learns to feed upon solitude. He does not need to be seen to know his worth, nor to be approved to act with confidence. He builds his self-assurance not on the applause of the crowd, but on the clarity of his own mind. When you no longer crave to be understood, you stop being misunderstood. When you no longer seek to be liked, you stop being manipulated. Observe how most people respond to provocation. They explain, justify, defend. In doing so, they reveal anxiety. And anxiety is a scent that predators never miss. But the calm man does not explain. He allows silence to crush the noise. His restraint unsettles those who expected chaos. He speaks only when his words can cut deeper than silence. And when he does, every syllable strikes like a blade. This is the true power of composure. It creates fear without the need for hostility. Do not aim to destroy those who bother you. That is still reaction. Aim to understand them so deeply that their attempts become useless. The one who sees through others gains control without lifting a finger. Anger is a sign that you have been caught off guard. Serenity is proof that you have foreseen it all. The more you understand human nature, the less capable anyone becomes of surprising or upsetting you. You become like a mirror, reflecting all, absorbing none. And when the world rages against you, you remain still, untouchable, unbroken, and silently victorious. The path to never being angered is the path of self-sovereignty, the complete rule over one's mind, impulses, and emotions. You cannot control the tongues of others, but you can command the throne within yourself. Every man who provokes you seeks to unseat you from that throne, to drag your reason into the dirt where emotion rules. The moment you respond in fury, you are no longer a ruler but a servant. Servant to your instincts, servant to your wounds, servant to the words of lesser men. But the one who masters his reactions remains invincible, for nothing external can move what is governed internally. Understand this: emotional control is not numbness, it is refinement. The wise man feels every emotion, but he chooses which to express and when. Anger may visit him, but it never resides in him. He listens to its message, for anger is merely the voice of wounded pride, and then dismisses it like an advisor who has spoken out of turn. He asks, "Why does this disturb me?" And in that question, he exposes his own vanity, for no one can offend a man who does not require honor from others. Pride is the soil in which anger grows. Humility and detachment uproot it entirely. The man who learns to laugh at his own importance can never be humiliated by anyone else. You must also recognize that the world's provocations are tests, not of your emotions, but of your composure. The people who irritate you are not enemies, they are instruments through which your discipline is sharpened. Every insult becomes a lesson in restraint. Every betrayal becomes a lesson in foresight. Every disrespect becomes an opportunity to prove your indifference. When you view your trials as training, they lose the power to injure you. What once angered you becomes your teacher. What once wounded you becomes your weapon. There is another secret distance. You cannot remain unbothered if you are too close to chaos. Withdraw from gossip, from noise, from the constant exchange of opinions. The more you are exposed to trivialities, the more your mind becomes reactive. Guard your attention like treasure, for wherever it goes, your power follows. When you learn to be alone, when you learn to walk in silence, the world loses its grip on you. Solitude strengthens perception. You begin to see how absurd most conflicts truly are, arguments of ego disguised as matters of principle, battles of insecurity masked as moral wars. When you rise above such things, you no longer play in the same arena as the furious. You stand above them, calm and unreadable, and that is where true dominance begins. Remember this: your stillness is not passivity, it is control. It is the pause that makes others question themselves. It is the composure that exposes their instability. When everyone else burns with outrage, your serenity becomes intimidating. People sense that you cannot be influenced, and that realization frightens them. For the man who cannot be provoked cannot be controlled. He becomes the storm's center, still, calculating, and inevitable. To never get angry or bothered by anyone is to ascend beyond the reach of ordinary men. It is to operate from a height where human pettiness looks like the movement of ants below. The world believes power is found in dominance, wealth, or vengeance. But the greatest power is emotional invulnerability. For the man who cannot be emotionally shaken controls all who can. The ruler of minds is not the one who shouts the loudest, but the one who stands in silence while others destroy themselves through reaction. To reach this height, one must abandon the illusion that emotions are signs of authenticity. They are merely tools, to be used when useful, hidden when not. The secret is not to suppress your feelings, but to rule them as a sovereign rules his kingdom, with order and purpose. You must assign emotion the same discipline you give to thought. Anger, fear, sadness, pride, they are soldiers of your internal empire. Let them act only when commanded, never when provoked. If a fool insults you, his words cannot touch your worth unless you grant them audience. If a traitor betrays you, his act cannot shake your foundation unless you built your peace upon him. Your detachment must be so complete that nothing external defines your stability. For the man who depends on nothing is the man no one can harm. Observe the weak. They spend their lives reacting to forces outside themselves. Every insult redirects their attention. Every disagreement consumes their energy. They live as slaves to the moods of others. But the strong man, the calculating one, converts every disturbance into observation. He studies the motives behind each attack, and from it he extracts advantage. The fool wastes his fire on revenge, the strategist uses insult as intelligence. To those who seek to anger him, he gives no reaction, for silence is the most humiliating response to aggression. Nothing cuts deeper into the ego of the petty than indifference from the powerful. Do not confuse indifference with apathy. Apathy is emptiness, indifference is strength. The indifferent man feels everything but allows nothing to dominate him. His emotions serve his intellect, not the other way around. He can simulate warmth to charm, anger to intimidate, affection to control. Yet inside, he remains still, calculating outcomes while others drown in passion. Such a man does not need to fight to win. He lets others destroy themselves in their frenzy. He knows that fury blinds, and blindness breeds mistakes. His power lies in patience. He waits, watches, and when the moment arrives, he strikes once, cleanly, decisively, without emotion. And when he returns to silence, the world realizes too late that they were never playing his game. They were merely pieces upon his board. This is the final mastery. To reach a state where no insult can move you, no betrayal can wound you, and no flattery can seduce you. To be unmoved by the praise or hatred of men alike. For when you no longer require validation or vengeance, you possess absolute control. You have transcended the reach of emotion, the reach of manipulation, and the reach of weakness. You are no longer merely human. You are principle incarnate, calm and dangerous. The storm may roar around you, but within you remain unshaken, the eye of power itself.